Hey, everybody, it is your gaming buddy slash survivor guy, Gordon, here with the second interview of the day. We had two eliminations on the last episode of Survivor. We're here from Evie. Before we do, though, if you could do me a solid, just press that like button, press that subscribe button. It's a huge help to the channel, and it makes me feel good about myself. When I'm feeling low, I look at the climbing subscriber count, and I get all of Twitter. So yeah, enough of that. But yeah, do it. Do it. You don't have to do it. I would appreciate it. But anywho, let's see what Evie's up to. All right, Evie, welcome to my hangout. And I got it right. I said Evie. I was worried about that.
You nailed it. You nailed it. Great to see you.
See, the check mark, one down already. How does it feel when Giant Danny, with his 40-person alliance, says, you know, Evie's really the game's biggest threat?
Honestly, it is like so fun to me. I mean, I love Danny, but the fact that he was so scared of me, like he's literally an NFL player, and I beat him in like 2 challenges already. So you know, nothing to not brag about there.
In his defense, I don't know how many NFL challenges involve, you know, stacking things with your feet and standing in one place.
I mean, but neither does PhD work. So, you know, who's got the leg up? But anyway, I'm just kidding. But okay. it is funny. I think Danny really went into the game being like, I need to make the puzzle people, like the schemers, the threats, because he obviously would have such a big target on himself as a physical guy. And like, good strategy for him. Like, we honestly just had completely antithetical strategies for the game. But I think that makes sense because we're really different people. So, you know, he was probably right. There was no way I was going to go to the end with him. So,
well, no matter what happens from now on, you kicked Danny's ass.
I sure did, Danny. You know, he's going to tweet about it. Like, you know.
So last night, I've got like this one hair. Last night, no dice roll. So that leads me to believe either you desperately needed your one vote or you thought you were safe. Walk me through that. What did you think was going to happen?
Definitely. I mean, honestly, I was really like hoping that Danny and Deshawn would vote with me and Xander on Lana. I honestly think that Deshawn was kind of down to do it, but I think the fact that Danny wasn't, like, there's no reason for Deshawn to get out 2 of his alliance, you know, get out 1 alliance member and piss off another one. So like, I get why that didn't happen, but I just didn't know that Danny wasn't down. We had a conversation about like us all being shields for each other, and you know, Xander and Danny kind of had this relationship where I think Xander always thought that like it was a 2-way relationship, but I think it was a bit more one way than Xander thought. Like if I had known that they had that conversation where Danny was like, no, we need to get Evie, not Lana, that would have, you know, been big red flags for me. But I think Xander kind of thought that he was able to talk Danny into what Xander wanted to do, which was vote out Lana. And I guess he was wrong about that. But I thought that Deshawn was going to come with us, so we were both wrong. Did you also like, oh, go ahead.
Did you think seeing Nasir sitting over on the jury hurt you, or do you think that the plan had already been set?
No, I don't think the Nasir thing had any effect because Danny and Deshawn always wanted Nasir out. They always thought he was a big threat. So I think that just, if anything, gave them like confidence that things were kind of going their way to some degree. But I think what would have really been, if Shan or Ricard had been sitting there, I think that would have been a huge shakeup for me because like the whole point that was that Deshawn didn't want to flip on that kind of core group. But if one of them had been out, that would have really maybe upped my odds. So, you know, is what it is.
Sorry, I cut you off earlier. Was there a point you wanted to make?
Oh, I was just going to say that, so we were hoping that Danny and Deshawn were going to vote Liana, but we also had been pushing for Liana to vote Deshawn. So they didn't really show much of that except for like a weird conversation between Xander and Liana. But Liana and I had a bunch of conversations about it as well. And, you know, Shan and Liana were just as frustrated with Deshawn as Deshawn was with them. So I was just really hoping to try to like get those sides firing against each other. But, you know, kudos to them. They stayed strong. And, you know, probably good on them for getting me out.
So, you used to be close with Liana. When did you realize you had lost her? What was it when she came back from the island of excessive advantages and had been with Shan?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't worry too much when she had first come back from the island because we had always thought, you know, there's 4 Yasa, there's 2 Ua, and there's 6 Luvu. So going into Merge, like, great that Liana made a good connection with Shan. Let's work with Shan and Ricard and get out of Luvu. Like, I was definitely on board with that. But where it started to turn was when we got to the Merge, Liana started saying, you know, we could get out of Luvu, or what if we got out Xander? And it was just frustrating because why would we get out Xander then? He's like on our side, and he's not going to go anywhere as a threat. But why would we not take this opportunity to get out of Luvu? So, first she was throwing out Xander. And then when I said I didn't want to do Xander, she was like, let's get Tiff maybe, because Tiff knows about my advantage. And I was like, are you kidding? Why would we get out like two of our alliance members? So, it just was clear that we had different visions for where we wanted the game to go. But like, I love her as a person. And it's just a game.
Was there any, Xander is sitting on a extra vote, a idol, a partridge in a pear tree. Was there any talk of him using one of those in your favor? Or, I know it seemed like he had been upset with you after you had spilled the beans to Deshaun. Was there any talk of him utilizing one of those advantages last night?
Yeah, so, like you said, our relationship was not as close as it once was, obviously, after the whole idol debacle. So for me, it was like, I didn't even want to waste time talking about him playing the idol for me, because if he wasn't going to play it at that merge vote when we like actually were in lockstep and we're in the middle of executing like a huge play, I just like had no faith that he was going to do it at this vote when he's on the bottom. He's already like not played it for me. I just like wasn't going to put my eggs in that basket. I do wish we'd considered using the extra vote more. I think honestly, I felt good about Deshaun and Xander felt really good about Danny. So I think, he just thought that we had it. So they're his advantages and, he wanted to hang on to them, which I don't fault him for. Like, I certainly wasn't the best ally to him. So I get him not wanting to waste his idol on me. That
was a great moment where you're like, I can't believe this dude is willing to play an idol for me because I am not willing to play one for him.
I mean, look at it. I do think it's a testament to my social game. Like, it was always kind of my, secondary / fake backup alliance. And I, had him feeling so good that he was willing to do that, almost. So, almost. It is what it is. It is what it is. But I honestly love Xander as a person. Like, we had fun out there and he was my backup, but you got to keep your backups close, keep your options together,
We do a word association here to get to know your tribe mates a little bit better. Sure. I'll give you someone's name. Give me the first word, a couple words that pops into your head. And let's start off with Sydney.
Hilarious.
Okay. Abraham.
Teacher.
Xander.
Complex.
Danny.
Kind.
Deshaun.
Charming.
Liana.
Heart.
Ricard.
Sneaky.
Erica.
Savvy.
Heather.
Possums.
You're going to need to elaborate on that a little bit.
You got to ask her about that one.
All right, we'll ask Heather about possums. Tiffany.
Family.
Nasir.
Sweetheart.
Okay. Voce.
16.6667.
There you go.
Is that a word?
Is it 6 with a line on the top? And let's finish off with everybody's favorite humming superstar, Shan.
The boss.
Okay. That's a wildly positive word association. I like to say there's no wrong answers, but I was hoping for a little more.
I think Tiff did plenty of that.
Okay. Can't wait to hear back about possums. So at the very first episode, Jeff asked everybody about his "Come on in, guys" catchphrase. It's day one of a social game for $1 million. If his catchphrase was "Gordon Holmes is a moron," I would have said I was okay with it. What was going through your head during that moment where it seemed like he was throwing it to the players to get their 2 cents on that?
Yeah, I mean, it was just like a weird moment. Like you said, it was right at the beginning of the game. We're like all so fresh and excited. He had also been kind of like asking a bunch of questions that were all like way lower stakes. Like, like, Heather, what do you think of social media? Kind of things that were just like so much less consequential. And then he throws that out there. And there's kind of like, they didn't show, but there was like kind of a long pause. And I don't know, I like had it in my head. I felt like he was like talking to me. I don't know, like, and I don't know. I just had this feeling that he kind of like maybe assumed what my answer was, which that's just me projecting or something. Mm-hmm. But I think that's kind of why I was like, honestly, the word guys doesn't bother me, but that's me. And like, I think, being in this game, it was like new to be speaking on TV and like thinking about how your words are going to like have an impact across the world. So honestly, I'm happy that later Ricard did speak up and say, because like the truth is, if anyone is bothered by it, we absolutely should get rid of it. And I was really just speaking from my own experience with what I was saying, but like, it's good that for the broader perspective, if anyone, like, I'm sorry, come on in, guys, is like not important. So like, if it does bother people, there's no reason we shouldn't make the game as inclusive as possible. I do just think it was like, yeah, you're in a game for $1 million. I really don't think that's the right situation to like have an actual conversation about it. And for me personally, I just wish that after Ricard had spoken up, I just wish that Jeff had passed it back to me, because it kind of painted it as like that we were saying different things. And I would have liked to just be like, I'm happy Ricard said that. I'm glad that he did. So
how about Probst going from like, do you like puppies to something that had the potential to be social media wildfire?
Yeah, the game, he loves his twists, and I think one of the cool things about Survivor is that it does like broach social issues, but I also think a lot of times it does happen in that way where it's just not really the right setting, because people can't actually say their real feelings. You know what I mean? Like you don't know any of these people. We didn't even freaking know anyone's name. You know what I mean? Like, that's not the right place to be like getting into things like that and like being able to, have that kind of discussion. So I just wish it happened a different way, honestly. And, especially knowing that it was going to be such a touchstone thing, I think it's just kind of unfortunate to like put it on the players when like it did seem like he literally said that there was an outcome he wanted. So like, you're the EP, man. just do it.
Well, when it happens naturally, it's there's nothing better. Like the very first season,
Right.
A grizzled Marine became best friends with a gay man, and it was just, that's just what happens when you put people on an island and they get to know each other.
Yeah, and I think there were so many like more natural moments like that. Like, for example, early in the game, I don't know if this is whatever. Early in the game, I had my period. And Liana and I had like a great conversation about like equity and equality and like, what does it mean that like people that get their periods have the same amount of underwear as people that don't, you know what I mean? Like, there's all sorts of equity things in the game that I think like naturally do come up. And that was just kind of, for my opinion, a sort of like artificial one, but not, I'm not saying it's not important. I just think that was not one that like, it obviously didn't come about naturally. But yeah.
Sorry to cut you off, but we're running out of time real quick. You are a rock star out there. You have some real return trip potential. How does it feel to go out there and study your puzzles and get a chance to knock it out of the park?
Thank you so much. I mean, it's everything. Like, if you had told me when I like made my video, everything that was going to happen, I would have never believed you. So I'm just honestly really proud. Like, I can't help but be a little frustrated, because I feel like if I just had pulled a different rock on that day, like I still, I would have lasted longer. But it was an amazing ride, and like to go from like a power player to an underdog and like make cool moves and crush the puzzle and win an immunity challenge, like literally what more could you ask for? I guess $1 million, but aside from that, it's pretty
next time.
Yeah.
Evie, thank you so much for your time. This was great.
Yeah, thank you. You got to keep your backups close, keep your options together,
That's right. Like if neither one of us are married at 35, we marry each other. I get it.
I don't know if that's where me and Xander are going, but